himself into condition. In the last 2 or 3 games, he's been a factor, especially from the perimeter.
And possession goes to the Western Mustangs. Jonathan Dingle, the outstanding freshman from Hamilton Westdale. Lynch underneath. Rebound. Balfe over to Moore and back up court. Van Koughnett back outside to B.J. York. Balfe. Fine third-year player from St. David's. And Wes, he is playing with all sorts of confidence this past 2 weeks. And again, if he's going great guns, the perimeter game will take care of itself.
He's been the difference, and they're going to try to double down on him. And if they do double down, he will have to become a passer and kick it back out to the perimeter. Here's how we break the game down with the Hicks hoop hint. Number 1, must play good help defense and work hard on the D. That's Waterloo. They've got to stay focused for the whole game. No breakdowns on defense. Number 2, B.J. York must control the offense to free up Alex and Sean. What I mean by that, he's got the ball now. If he plays it well at the point, that will allow Sean and Alex to get involved in the offense. If he doesn't, then one of those players will have to come out and assume the point position. Now, they have to show patience on offense and start with the 2s. The Waterloo Warriors are famous in trying to force the 3-point shot. If they stay within the first 10 minutes and really concentrate on working the ball inside and look for 2s, that's key. Now, on the western side, don't let Urosevic get a good start. If the Mustangs let Urosevic get a good start shooting and passing and penetrating, they could be in trouble. Second, John Vermeuren's interior defense against Balfe. If he can take Balfe's game away early, then that will force the Waterloo Warriors just to go to the perimeter game. So the gentle Giants got to play tough inside, and he just gets a score off the offensive glass. Third, Western's bench, we know, is a lot stronger than the Warriors. So late in the game, look for the Mustangs to get a run, and that could be a factor by wearing Waterloo down.
Well, we're 4 minutes into this ball game, and there's the first 3-point of the ball game. Chris Moore, 5-year veteran from Barry North, with a 3-point play. It's an 8-4 ball game. Correction, 5-4 ball game. And Campbell sets up and claims for 2. And after a cold, sluggish start, both these teams starting to heat up in the first half in London.
Good continuity to their offense. They're getting the good screens, allowing the forwards and the guards to come off and getting the intermediate shot. But we talk about John Dingle. He is the freshman. In their first meeting, he scored 24 points, so he's going to be a factor.
B.J. York takes it to the hoop. Vermeuren with a second personal foul. 5 feet, 9 inches tall, 160 pounds, and a second here from Waterloo St. David's. And there's the veteran John Vermeuren. Tilsonburg-Glendale, and he'll get a breather and off to the bench. In foul trouble early on. This game barely 5 minutes old, and Vermeuren with 2 fouls, and that will certainly help out Tom Balfe and Mark Hopkins as they attempt to dominate inside.
Well, it will, because if John Vermeuren gets in foul trouble, Harris, the freshman, comes in, and he's not a wide body. He's 6'7". He moves very well. He likes to play more of the mid-post, high-post position than downtown on the blocks. B.J. York, I thought last week had a career game against the Block Badgers. He not only set the offense, played well offensively shooting, but played some real tough defense.
Jonathan Dingle, far side, looks for help, finds Brendan Noonan. Bounce pass, perimeter. Campbell off the pass and drains for 3. Brad Campbell averaging 14.6 points per game. He has 7 points in the first half. Basket is going to count, and the Warriors will go to the line. Balfe with a hot hand early on.
But, Paul, you see exactly what happened there. But John Vermeuren off the floor. Balfe says, well, it's time to go to work now. I don't have the wide body in there. I'm going to take it to the hoop. His first step is outstanding. He has good position. He gets the defensive man on his hip and then rolls to the basket. Michael Lynch there, we just had him. He's a very quick forward. I think he's got good potential to be an All-Canadian. We talk so often about David Pickton and Sean Van Koughnett, but don't sell Michael Lynch short. He's an outstanding forward. He can shoot. He can rebound. He's a great passer.
And at 6'5", we'll never sell Michael Lynch short. 4th leading scorer in the nation with The shot was Campbell. Lynch rebound, passes off. Here's an opportunity for the Mustangs. Rebound with help by Balfe outside to B.J. York. York quickly up court, looks for room. Perimeter, rejected. And the Western fans love this. Mike Milne with the rejection. Milne, 6 feet 5 inches tall, 202 pounds in his third season for Mullen Sound.
Well, we're getting a block party going now. They're getting off their feet. They're anticipating where the ball's going to be on the shot, and they're getting some block shots. Both teams are very intense here. They know the importance of this basketball game. Balfe inside again now. He kicks it out.
And York drains for three. Evidence of how well that game is going inside. The confidence to pump it in, then back out, and the perimeter game, as predicted, is working.
And that's why Tom Balfe is a quality player now. When he gets doubled down, he can be a passer. And that's important for your person playing under the rim. There's another matchup against Balfe.
They'll have the bags packed, hauled for traveling, and Waterloo will get it back. Former Ottawa GG, who has transferred here to Western. And the Warriors hot early on. They lead by 4, 13-9. What a tremendous performance last week on the game of the weekend. Special thanks to Ken Welch, who came in a starring role and substituted for me, and I had an opportunity to catch the last 5 minutes. And Wes, you, Peter, and Ken having a great time enjoying another Saturday afternoon of hoops, and doesn't get much better than that unless your wife is having a baby on that given day.
I think he really enjoyed himself. As he stated, he likes to do games that are inside, where he can keep warm.
Brendan Noonan, co-captain of the Western Mustangs and point guard. Bounce pass. Inside, Milne, turnaround jumper up and in, and down the cellar it drops. And Milne, what a valuable addition here since coming off the bench. His opening 2 of this first half. Baseline jump shot, Mike Duarte.
Mike Duarte can hit from the outside, but he's a defensive specialist. He likes to get involved in the basketball game. Now, if he can get some quality points, that's going to help the Warriors early here in the half. Coach Bordell does not like what's going on the floor. His team is away from the game plan, and they're not fluid within their offensive concepts.
That's always a safe one. Let's go. Ready? Stand.
And Brad Campbell, 7 points to lead the Western Mustangs and West. We've talked about that Jekyll and Hyde personality. The Waterloo Warriors are remaining hot as they try to make it 3 straight wins.
Remember what I said, patience. They've showed patience. They've wanted to work the ball in to try to get the 2s before the 3s. When the double down comes on Balfe, he kicks it back out to the perimeter. That's your inside out game. Things are going well with the Warriors, but the Mustangs now will have to elevate their defense and get into sync a little better with their offensive moves.
The M&M with his second field goal of this first half. That's 4 points for Mike Milne. Baseline rebound, Brad Campbell. The head coach of the Western Mustangs, Dr. Craig Boydell. And surprisingly, despite his team's fine play this season, I'm surprised the Western Mustangs not in the top 10. I talked to Coach Boydell and asked him whether he was surprised.
I guess, I guess in a way we are, but it's not something we talk about a lot. I really just look at our team's performance in the last 11 games. We've won 10 of those games, and the only one we lost to was with Mac. But, we played uncharacteristically in that game. We stopped running our offense, and so, we certainly did it publicly as well. But I'm pleased about our team right now is we didn't let that become a major setback. We kind of got right back to where we were before, and we basically had about a 14-minute lapse, and the guys have focused again. It's all our responsibility. I didn't get to run the offense. They stopped running the offense. It's a joint thing, and now I think we're kind of right back where we hope to. We can't focus on rankings when we play a team like Waterloo. I mean, this team is an unranked team who could win a national championship. So, I mean, there's a lot of good teams around the country who are ranked and not ranked, and our focus this entire week has not been on where we rank. It's been what we're going to do with these guys.
I want to get back to that, Paul, later on in the program about rankings and that, especially when you have Peter Barnsley here, because he makes a good point. They've only lost 1 in their last 11 games, and that was to McMaster, the #1 team in the nation, and that was playing at Mac, and they're still not ranked. I have a problem with that, but we can get back to that later. What happened in the timeout? Mustangs have refocused here, especially on defense, and they're hitting the open player offensively and moving the ball very well.
The head coach of the Waterloo Warriors, and there's Mark Hopkins, his head coach. Tom Kieswetter, outstanding high school coach and doing a tremendous job since taking over for Don McCray. But under Tom Kieswetter, these Warriors have been Jekyll and Hyde from week to week in seasons past. However, that may have come to an end as the Warriors seem to be playing consistent basketball finally.
Well, it's been a roller coaster, and I think a lot has to do with the credibility that we have as an inside team. And the emergence of Tom Balfe as a threat inside, I think may springboard us into a little more consistent play.
Mike Mill misses the first of two. Getting back to the national rankings, West, talk at least amongst the OUAA West that Laurentian and perhaps Prince Edward Island somewhat overrated, and their rankings into the top 10 a little bit vaulted. And time will certainly tell, but those rankings very important as we head toward the month of March and the two wild card spots up for grabs.
Well, they are important because you do get those wild card teams. But again, when you're looking at rankings, you've got to take the politics out of it. And I know that politics are involved in team sports at times when you look at rankings and so forth. But I really believe that when you're looking at this league here and the Mustangs as a quality team, even the Brock Badgers are certain times, I think they deserve two teams in the national rankings.
It's a 1917 ball game. The Mustangs back on top. B.J. York looking for help. Moore providing the pick, penetrates inside. Sandwich, and the foul will go against the Western Mustangs. And Blake Gage appears to be the culprit. That'll be his first personal.
PJ sees the lane now, and the crossover dribble gets a good screen at the high post there by Chris Moore and gets fouled. The Warriors have to be careful here. They cannot stand around on offense. They've got to get everybody involved. They've got to get a little bit more motion to their offense, get that player cutting from the weak side. They're starting to stand around.
B.J. York, 6 points so far, 3 for 3 from the free throw line. Four for 4, 7 points for the sophomore from St. David's in Waterloo. 11 minutes, 38 seconds to play. First half, we're tied up at 19.
Straight man-to-man by the Warriors, trying to put pressure on the basketball.
Lynch, inside pass for Gage. Overgaged it. And a turnover back to the Waterloo Warriors. And West, we take a look down the score sheet, and Michael Lynch held off the scoreboard to date. A major reason why this game is tied, but hold on, he'll warm up.
It won't be long. He's averaging 26 points a game, leading the league. That's what Alex Urosevic does so well, and that's penetrate and gets into the mid-post position.
Noonan, a four-year graduate from Terry Thompson's. Oakwood Barons passes off inside. There we go, Michael Lynch for 2.
Give credit to Dingle on that. He set the screen after the pass.
B.J. York watched defensively by Blake Gage. Pumps it. High post. Jump shot taken by Chris Moore. The offensive rebound, or defensive glass, brought back out by Gage and Mike Duarte. Hamilton, native out of St. Thomas More, picks up his first personal foul. Well, a free pair of tickets to an OUAA basketball game can be yours with a purchase of a pair of K-Swiss shoes at all participating Foot Locker dealers. Get down, buy a pair of shoes, and come on out and watch OUAA basketball.
Michael Lynch is playing in the low post position. Puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
The defensive board brought back by Chris Moore. Quickly up court, it's Urosevic. Alex dishes off. Balfe pumps and down it drains into the cellar again. And Balfe, the leading scorer for his team in this first half, along with B.J. York, both players with 7 points apiece in both graduates of Waterloo's fine basketball program at St. David's. Chris Moore, right place at the right time, comes up with a steal. And Balfe will go to the line to shoot 2. 9 minutes, 55 seconds to play in this first half.
Sean Van Koughnett has not been a factor so far in the basketball game. He's passed the ball well, rebounded off the defensive glass, but he's got to get involved and start getting on the score sheet.
Well, basketball fans, you're invited to submit your ballots for your selection for the 1994 CHCH University Dream Team. If your team is selected, you'll win an OUAA West basketball ticket package and prizes for March 6th and 7th at Topps Coliseum. We'll provide you with a board as Balfe hits the first of two, make it 8 points. The coaches select their all-star teams. We want you to select yours. Send as often as possible and send it to CHCH Television. And we'll get to that in a moment. An opportunity for you to provide us with your dream team. If it comes as close to matching that of the coaches, and we'll take the most popular votes, of course, and draw out of a hat. But here you go, CHCH Television, P.O. Box 2230, Station A, Hamilton, Ontario, L8N 3A6. And if you've missed it there, get a pencil. We'll do it again for you in the second half.
Both teams going to the Pine and trying to get relief so that they can get the up-tempo game going. Both teams now want to get in transition. Nick Poulimenos for the Waterloo Warriors, number 43 from Brantford. He's a quality freshman. Now you've got two real good freshmen on there, and Dingle for the Mustangs and Poulimenos for the Warriors.
In the middle of Craig Boydell, of course, was Art Sharp, former standout with the University of Toronto Varsity Blues, a fine swing player who played tough inside and had that fine touch from the perimeter. Played some memorable basketball games, and one in particular right here in London West several years back in the Wilson Cup. Probably one of the better games I've seen in my 9 years of being able to cover and have the pleasure of covering OUAA athletics.
Anytime Art Sharp played the game of basketball, it was full out, great intensity. He could play the inside or outside player, loved to play defense, loved to mix it up inside. He was fun to watch.
Dingle dishes off, baseline. And down it drops. A fine play, and Peter Schmidt with his opening two of this first half. Third-year player from Brother Andre secondary in Markham.
The Warriors are moving late on defense. When the ball is in the air, that's when you move. So when the ball gets to the player, you're there too. Too many open players taking open shots for the Mustangs.
Sean Van Koughnett will go to the line. Jonathan Dingle with the foul. And we talked about Mike Lynch without a point in the ball game. Van Koughnett in the same boat, and he the sixth leading scorer in West Division play in 1994.
But he's also the leading defensive rebounder, and he's doing a good job off the defensive glass. What I saw last week with the Warriors, they pushed the ball up circle to circle at all times. Even though they didn't have the fast break there, they're not doing that so far today. They've got to get that ball up quickly. Try to get the advantage. If it's not there, then go to their passing game.
At the top of the broadcast, I talked about a lack of spirit and leadership, harmony, if you will, amongst the Waterloo Warriors, and it appears in the last three games at any rate. Jonathan Dingle from the baseline for two. It's a 27-25 ball game. Van Koughnett and Urosevic seem to be taking charge. Chris Moore also has to step in and take charge with this team, but they're playing as a unit, an offensive attack, and that is proven in the win column as well, having won their last two games.
That's what really helped the chemistry in the last three games, and that's the inside game, and the coaches alluded to that, with Balfe coming across with some good interior points.
Balfe with the steal, has some help right side. Knocked out of bounds defensively by Blake Gage. Blake averaging 5.6 points per game, hails from Vaughan Secondary School in Aurora.
Getting back on defense, the Mustangs are doing it a lot better than they did when they lost that game to McMaster in McMaster. Defensive transition, it's there for the Mustangs.
Van Koughnett back outside. Head coach Tom Teeswetter going to his bench. Van Koughnett baseline, tosses up a brick. Back out the other side. Brad Campbell quickly up court. And it's Gage. Finds an opening. Dishes baseline. Schmidt to Campbell. To Jonathan Dingle. Dingle, number 20 for the Mustangs, a 96% graduate from Westdale and Hamilton. Nice play inside as they work it in. Marty Harris with the deuce.
In their motion offense, the Mustangs like to bring the weak side player over. And when the weak side player goes over, then the near side post player gets his man on his hip. And that's exactly what happened. They used the weak side cut as the dummy, went strong side 2 points. They do that so well, and that's what I was saying at the start of the program. When you play defense against the Mustangs, you've got to stay focused for the whole game. You can't have any defensive lapses.
Chris Moore pleads his case to referee Steve Foxcroft. Timeout for head coach Tom Kieswetter and his team and the Mustangs as well. 7:22 to play, first half.
We'll destroy the competition.
When I crush prices, there is no competition.
We might be small, but for furniture and appliance prices, Bad Boy's the big S.
Bad Boy takes on the world. Nobody beats Bad Boy.
Oh, yeah. Come on down to Bad Boy on Sunday, February 13th, and meet a WWF superstar.
Right now, you can win souvenirs and tickets to experience the WWF live at Maple Leaf Gardens on February 20th. Who's better for furniture and appliances?
Nobody.
February 14th is Gold Heart Day. Wear your heart on your sleeve. Help variety, help kids.
Medieval times, dinner and tournament. It's spectator sport.
Win the national championship, and I agree with them, but you got to get there, and only one potentially could come out of this Western Division, and that's the team that wins it. So that's why important when we got back to the rankings, and why it's important that these games are really, when you look at the overall picture of the national final, who gets there.
Well, if the wild card is to be handed out to the West Division at this stage of the season, it would only happen if the McMaster Marauders were upset at Topps Coliseum in the Wild West shootout on the weekends of March 6th and 7th, and that is indeed a possibility. Coming up at halftime, we're going to profile a member of the Waterloo Warriors. It's not the Dutchman, but Mike Duarte. Hamilton native and the Tasmanian Devil. More on that in a moment. Coast to coast, Peter Barnsley and I will provide you with information of what has transpired in the CIAU this past weekend. Director-producer Phil LaChapelle's very popular Hoops at the Half.
Mental errors in a critical time in the game with 6:58 to go. You can't turn the ball over with mental errors.
Van Koughnett set to vault this ball back into play. B.J. York. Brad Campbell giving very little quarter. Outside, Van Koughnett looks for help. B.J. York to Alex Urosevic inside. Tom Balfe works on Harris. The turnaround jump shot. Back of the rim, and down it goes. Drilled the donut.
He not only gets the job done, he looks good doing it. He takes that really big, giant step. But what a lot of good matchups there on the court. Defensively, Dignell is on Sean Van Koughnett.
A one-point ball game. Waterloo trailing by one. Urosevic misses the shot, penetrating. Knew he should have had it. And will get probably another opportunity as this game progresses. Off the pass, Michael Lynch, front of the rim. Rebound outside to Brad Campbell. Seems to be getting that left leg back. Tom Balfe, by the way, with 11 points.
Dingle came off a screen that time, and Balfe hooked him with the foot. That's why he's such an aggressive player. He's got to be careful now. He doesn't want to get in foul trouble, because if the Warriors lose Balfe, that's more important right now than the Mustangs losing Vermeuren. The Mustangs have played the last 12 minutes without John Vermeuren, and they're still leading the basketball game. So they can make the adjustment, and they can play small a lot better than the Waterloo Warriors. And Balfe's out now. We have Moore in at one post position, and the post player from Owen Sound, Hopkins, at the other.
Dingle, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Rebound, Lynch. Sends it up and down it flies. Michael Lynch, 4 points. Sean Van Koughnett, averaging 18 points per game. Wes, he's just limited to 3 and all from the free throw line.
Well, when you take your banger off the defensive glass, you pay the price, and that they've got the garbage basket. And here they come again. They want to try to get in up-tempo now to try to get some break points to break it open here at the 5-minute mark.
Dingle inside, bounces it up and off the glass. Top rebound, Chris Moore. B.J. York, Urosevic wants to take it inside. The shovel shot will not drop. And he'll get a chance to shoot 2 from the line with 5 minutes and 22 seconds to play. Dingle, the foul for the Mustangs.
Alex does that well. He causes things to happen with penetration, but he's got to learn. If it's not there, kick it back out and get the other people involved.
The The Crew Cuts making their way back to OUAA basketball. Dingle and B.J. York, and Alex never with a long coiffure. He gets the first of two.
And when we talk about the perimeter game, Waterloo Warriors, they're outstanding with Van Koughnett and Urosevic from the perimeter. They have not got a field goal so far in this basketball game. And they're still in it, only down 3. That's an amazing stats, Paul.
Very incredible. Urosevic, as mentioned, West with just 2 points and both coming from the free throw line. He and Van Koughnett have combined for 5. They've been averaging together 37 points. So Waterloo Warriors in great shape, providing that tandem can heat up. They trail by 2 and have the basketball. 32-30 for the Western Mustangs. 5 minutes exactly first half.
Good matchup, Hopkins and Harris. Harris, number 45 for the Mustangs. He's the freshman.
Now, we talked about Dingle with a 96% average out of Westdale Secondary. Marty Harris from Waterloo Collegiate in his second season, an A average in engineering. Not only talented academics, but great athletes as well. What a combination. And yet another haircut. We may come back with the all-haircut team, and I think we'd have our starting 5 in this afternoon's ball game. The native of Owen Sound out of West Hill Secondary, Hopkins. Family has since moved up to Manitoulin Island, and I think enough room for Mark to roam the woods. Taken out of the play, and a great move by Brad Campbell. Picks up the foul as Hopkins.
But that's what happens when you get the mismatches outside. Hopkins was on Campbell in defensive transition. That wasn't his man, but Campbell made a good fake up and went around him, and Hopkins had to foul him.
Hopkins, known in West Division circles as the Gordie Howe of OUAA basketball. Those elbows get up there, and talking to some of his teammates, it's not intentional. He's just such a big, gangly, intense kid. And sometimes you're going to get in the way of those elbows. Hopkins, 6 feet 9 inches tall.
Are you saying, Paul, sometimes the arms move a little quicker than the feet?
Opposing players have said that. Mark with the rebound, and at 230 pounds. That weight may be elevated somewhat, but he's a big kid.
He likes to go to the block parties. He likes to block the shots. Alex Urosevic, again, penetration to Duarte. Just misses those chippies. They got to make them.
Van Koughnett inside, back out, and the Mustangs have it. Tremendous inside play by both teams. Lynch off the stop. Hopkins comes up with a rebound as Balfe gets a well-deserved rebound, and Hopkins playing well in the 5 position. Speaking of number 5, it's Mike Duarte. Fake pass. Van Koughnett will attempt to drive inside, off the rim and down in drops. And we're tied up at 33 with 4 minutes and 10 seconds to play.
The primetime player has elevated his game in the last 3 minutes now, and he's checking defensively Michael Lynch at Sean Van Koughnett. You can't keep him quiet all the time. Gets another defensive rebound, and here he comes again.
B.J. York in behind Noonan. Bounce pass, baseline. 1 pass, 2 minutes, and Urosevic knows it. Brendan Noonan, member of the 1990 Ontario provincial team, loses the basketball. Inside up, follow through. Van Koughnett aggressively going to the glass, but it doesn't pay off, and Brad Campbell comes up with the board.
Urosevic has to stay relaxed a little bit. He's too tight out there. He's forcing his shots. He's a great shooter, but he can't force the shot.
Milton would love to get that shot over again, gets the chance. Rejected, but paying the price. Mark Hopkins, his second personal.
Stay focused defensively. The Waterloo Warriors were going down on the break before they had the basketball. Lynch tries to keep it in play. Oh, I thought he had all leather.
Mike Milne to the line for the Mustangs. Averaging 5 points per game, has already surpassed that.
Paul, we were talking coming up today about do you think the Mustangs really missed Steve King? And you made some good observations. I really think they did early in the season, and it's taken a while for the Mustangs to take up the slack.
And we talked about the fact that Brad Campbell has come into his own, playing tough defensively as Steve did. And, of course, with that outside shot that King had as well. And hopefully in the leadership department, there was another thing that King had and provided the Western Mustangs and really was a key in them winning the West Division Championship at Tops last March.
Those were the three intangibles. King could hit the three, played a tough defense, and gave them the leadership. And again, Coach Boydell was looking for someone to pick that up, and I think Brendan Noonan's done it. Brad Campbell, now that he's playing himself back in shape, but really, I think they do miss Steve King.
And Ward hits the first of two, and coming off, Brendan Noonan. Brendan Noonan was another player, West number 15 for the Western Mustangs, heading to the bench, talking about the fact that he does not put the ball up that often, and perhaps if he were to, that would force defensive teams to pay attention to them, and as is, or maybe backing off, knowing full well that 90% of the time he's going to dish the basketball off rather than put it up. And he can hit the three.
Exactly. A lot of times, his man will be the man to double down on the post. But again, the Mustangs are being patient, looking to the inside game first. And sometimes when you play flat on offense, meaning closer to the basket where the Waterloo Warriors are, what they're doing now, it's hard to get back in defensive transition. They have to be careful.
Mike Duarte off the pass and drains for two. Our halftime personality profile, Mike Duarte with another deuce, and we'll learn more about the Hamilton native in moments. He is a security guard, by the way, for a Money Express company, not Brinks, but the Universal Company. And he has been money in the bank so far this season, coming back after a year off for head coach Tom Kieswetter.
He's a type of player that really makes it fun and interesting in university basketball. Just the way he plays, the way that he attacks the ball. We said last week, people clean the glass. He cleans the floor. He's intense. He's a fun guy in university basketball.
There's a kid who needs a crew cut. The effervescent Mike Duarte. Effervescence on the court. Rather shy off court. Like Gage. Watch defensively. Urosevic, nice job. Basket, unfortunately for Waterloo, is going to count. What a tremendous play by Blake Gage, his fourth point of this first half.
Gage is a very active player. He's a player that can go inside. He makes the good moves. He's quick enough that you get some mismatches when the bigger players check him. He can play to the outside. He loves to play defense.
2 minutes and 5 seconds to play first half. It's a one-point ball game from London.
Souvenirs and tickets to experience the WWF live at Maple Leaf Gardens on February 20th.
Oh, yeah!
Who's better for furniture and appliances?
Nobody!
2 minutes and 5 seconds to play. Western on top by one, and West. Craig Boydell telling you this week injuries were going to prevent his bench from really being effective today, but so far not doing a bad job in terms of Waterloo's bench as well. A differential of 7 points in terms of pine time, 16-7 the edge for the Mustangs.
And when you look at the roll-age players, that's about right for the season. Western are averaging 22 points off the bench, and the Waterloo Warriors only 16. A difference of 6, and it's a difference of 7 now.
Exactly. 2 minutes to play first half. 38-37. Waterloo trails, but they have possession. Urosevic drives inside, off the glass, 8, pretty play. And a member of Canada's under-22 team in 1991 and a silver medalist at the World University Games in Sheffield has himself his second field goal of this first half.
And Michael Duarte is playing Brad Campbell. Good move, because Duarte will really challenge Campbell, take the outside shot away. Give that guy a lot of credit there, Paul. P.J. York, he's set the table. He's doing things well as the leader on the floor.
Over to Mike Duarte. Passes inside, bounce, pass, baseline, Chris Moore. Chris Moore not having as good a season as he had anticipated, however, battling a series of nagging injuries. And it seems West throughout his 5-year career at Waterloo, Chris Moore has always been plagued by bad knees.
But he's a quiet, efficient player. He likes to play the game because he likes defense as well as offense. He likes to come outside and hit for the 2, but he'll want to bang it inside. He likes to clean the glass and get going in transition.
There's Mike
Always
Duarte.
liked Moore.
former member, Wes, of our all-underrated team, Mike Duarte and Chris Moore. And Brad Campbell with an opportunity as well. And very tough making the top two offensive squads in this competitive OUAA West division. That is why we have the Hickson-Hendrick all underrated, and we'll be back again come March in '94. Brad Campbell picks up the personal.
And the battle on the glass.
Correction, he'll shoot. He drew the personal.
The battle on the glass so far, we have to give it to the Mustangs because it's one and done for the Warriors. And the Mustangs are trying to get the second and third opportunity shots. Here, look here. When they miss the shot, they're going to the glass. Warriors are not doing that.
Campbell, first of two.
Amazing story, Brad Campbell, with his knee operation. I didn't think he'd ever play basketball again, and the young man has really been patient. He's worked through the operation and the injury, and now he's really starting to contribute to the Mustangs' attack.
Graduate of Nepean Secondary School in the West End, suburban Ottawa. Final 26 seconds to play, and Waterloo hoping to go to the dressing room on top. They trail by one. Poulimenos, baseline, the Brantford native. Fouled en route to the hoop. Mike Lynch, fourth-year veteran from Brother Andre Secondary School in Markham with the foul. Michael Lynch with just 4 points in this first half.
We talk about Brad Campbell's offensive ability. He's a great defensive player. For the last 3 minutes, he's been checking Sean Van Koughnett and has shut the young man down, especially from the perimeter. But, Paul, do you see how the game changes when you have the wide bodies out of there? Vermeuren hasn't been in there for a while. Tom Balfe hasn't been in there. And that opens up the core of the offense or the defense, and it lets a lot of things happen. You can penetrate. You can get the second opportunity. You can let those tweeners, meaning the small forwards or the guards, offside guards, go to the basket. It really opens up the game.
6 seconds to play. Turnover. Poulimenos quickly up court. Mike Lynch steals it. Blake Gage puts it up at the buzzer and hits the side of the backcourt. Well, Wes, it has been a closely fought 20 minutes of play, and as a result, we head to the dressing room basically 0-0. 40-40 is the score. Our halftime show is coming up, so by all means, stick around. Strong at number 5, Waterloo. Number 4, the Guelph Griffins. Number 3, the Fans at Brock. Number 2, McMaster. Number 1, it has to be the Thunderdome fans up at Lakehead University. Lou Perro and his crew with a great team this year, and so too the fans.
That's 2 weeks in a row that McMaster Marauders fans are coming along, and they're filling the place, too. They could be number 1 in the nation as well as the fans. Watch the Marauder fans, Lakehead.
Tied up at 40 here at halftime. Back into the second half. Brad Campbell, front of the rim. Rebound, Balfe. Across midcourt, B.J. York. Chris Moore finds room and brings it down into the cellar it goes. A basement sale, 43-40, three-point play for Chris Moore.
Brad Campbell, dominant player in the first half Mustangs. 4 for 6 from the floor, 3 from 4 from the foul line, 2 for 2 from three-point land, and 7 rebounds. So they're going to have to concentrate and focus on Brad Campbell. Moore strokes again.
4-3, Chris Moore with 9 points, all from the three-point range, Wes.
What did they do to him in the halftime? He's come out here firing. Good position, too. They're going to have to come out on Moore. He knows he can hit from the three-point line.
Turnaround jump shot. Mike Lynch not having a banner day, and Mike, I'm sure, checking himself just to see what is wrong with that throwing arm. Let's go to the first half statistical sheet. For the Waterloo Warriors, leading scorer Balfe averaging 15 points per game. He has 11. Port with 8. B.J. York with 7 for the Stangs. Campbell with 13. Milne with 10. And Jonathan Dingle with 5. And on the boards, Moore with 4. Van Koughnett with 3. Campbell and Lynch 7 and 4, respectively.
And, Paul, you noticed on the stats there, you didn't see Van Koughnett or Urosevic in the leading top 3 in the scoring. Both of them combined for the first half were 2 for 11 combined. That's your primetime perimeter player. They're going to have to get on track, but Moore's picked up the slack to start the second half.
A lightning quick start here in the second half. That may be Brad Campbell's second personal, and his. 46-44. The Mustangs trail Waterloo by a deuce, and we're just underway here in the second. Possession remains with the Waterloo Warriors. Jonathan Dingle pleading his case.
Utah. He can't believe it. He didn't think it went off him at all. We said at the halftime that the Warriors were making a statement from the foul line. They're shooting 84% from the foul line, but the Mustangs from the floor are out shooting the Warriors 52% to 39%.
Waterloo averaging 83 points per game to Western's 85. Jammed inside baseline. Van Koughnett. Vermeulen with the rebound. Back up court. Brad Campbell far side. Looks for help. Baseline. Gets it. Dingle. Stepped out of bounds. It's a turnover. Tough defense as well from Alex Urosevic, who in his 5th and final season playing it a little tougher defensively as compared to years past where he was known as a one-dimensional ball player.
He's finally found out that there's a defensive part of the game of basketball.
Don McRae used to have to take Alex aside on so many occasions. And in Don's usual and unique way, get his message across. So in talking with Mike Duarte at halftime, we didn't use that portion in the interview. Talking about playing for Don McRae, he's like, never always understood what Coach wanted to say, but Coach always got his meaning across in due time. Moore back outside, high post. Urosevic decides to shoot and drain.
The freshman's going to have to get a hand in his face. Now he's going against Urosevic. Good matchup both ways. The freshman, Dingle, number 20, against Alex Urosevic, the veteran 50-year player. 20 against 20. Good matchup.
Alex Urosevic with 7 points. Inside, Van Koughnett. Campbell on him defensively. There's the jump shot. The Dutchman and Urosevic have beat it up, and beware, Western fans.
But the key forwards, Sean Van Koughnett and Michael Lynch, checking each other both ways.
Out-of-town scoreboard, McMaster en route to what appears to be a 6th victory. Guelph leading Laurier 39-27. And it has been a long season for the Laurier Golden Hawks, who have just totally dismantled the entire operation this season and are rebuilding from the foundation on up. Offensive charge against the Waterloo Warriors. Head coach Tom Kieswetter beside himself, so too Van Koughnett.
He can't believe it. You know, this is a tough call. Cipriani, there's the coaches. Mike Kilpatrick, the assistant coach. Tommy Teeswater with the tie on.
Dave McNeil. If anyone is applying to the Waterloo Warrior coaching staff, you must have a mustache. I call them the Team Groucho. All 3 of them. No comedy, of course. Very serious about what they do and very good. Dave McNeil, Mike Kilpatrick, and head coach Tom Kieswetter West.
But when we talk about the assistant coaches for the Waterloo Warriors, I was talking to Brian Clegg, who's the other assistant coach, along with Dave McNeil. And Brian said, you better say and let him know that I'm the assistant coach here, because my wife wonders where I've been all the time. I've been to practice. So there's your 3 assistant coaches, Mike Kilpatrick, Dave McNeil, and Brian Clegg for the Waterloo Warriors.
DJ York off the pass, back of the rim, rebound. Van Koughnett pumps it out to the perimeter. Urosevic pondered the penetration via baseline, but decided otherwise. Here's Balfe on Vermeulen. What a battle this could be. Outside, Chris Moore. And big under the defensive glass, John Vermeulen. Sean Van Koughnett and Brad Campbell, 3 fouls each for their respective sides. Lynch, turnaround jump shot. Foul on the play, and it appears as if Chris Moore was the culprit.
Michael Lynch is playing a good floor game now. He's seeing the screens. He's coming off the screens. He's getting good floor position for his shot. And you can't give Michael Lynch that type of position on the floor.
Lynch held to 4 points in the first half. It's his 5th by way of the free throw line.
We certainly have had games within the game today. We've seen the dominant inside game early, then the post players got in foul trouble, then the perimeter game has opened up. Now to start the second half, we've seen the post players like Chris Moore come to the outside, hit the threes.
Urosevic inside, Balfe back back out. Baseline, Alex Urosevic for 2, and Alex with a far better second half.
Both teams have taken it out of cruise control. They want an up-tempo game, forcing the ball to the baseline into the corners for the deuce.
Waterloo with the lead by 5, 53-48. Blake Gage decides to take the shot. Good choice, it'll fall. And Gage with 6 points brings his team back within 3. Van Koughnett, B.J. York. And over to Alex Urosevic. He'll take the shot, and down it drops. And again, we've seen Alex often enough. Anytime he dribbles between his legs, it's going up, and he hit for 3.
A subtle adjustment, though. Vermeeren takes it hard and misses, gets a second opportunity. But the slight adjustment here is Sean Van Koughnett has started on the offensive set at a mid-post position. That's drawing the Mustangs defense in, because now it's hard to double down on both Tom Balfe and Sean Van Koughnett. There he is there, right on the low block. That's where he wants to be.
Baseline jump shot, and the Dutchman, Sean Van Koughnett, heats up. Can the Mustangs keep pace? 14 minutes and 30 seconds. Second half, 58-52. Blake Gage finds an opening and finds the hole.
But it's the way the Warriors are doing it with the inside game, and Sean Van Koughnett, when it collapses, Urosevic is hitting and Chris Moore is hitting from the outside.
Alex Urosevic overshot the rim. Rebound Vermeeren out to Dingle and off the far side to Brendan Noonan. Alex Urosevic with 12 points, 8 in the second half. And the steal.
Got to protect the basketball. The Mustangs aren't doing that.
B.J. York. Reverse layup, and then it drops. It's a 60-54 ball game, and the Waterloo Warriors are red hot.
The Mustangs need a timeout to regroup to get their offense settled.
Reverse layup the other way. It's Jonathan Dingle. 60-56. Waterloo with possession and the lead.
This type of pace, you're going to have to use your bench early in the second half.
13 minutes, 26 seconds to play. The Western Mustangs and Blake Gage looking up at the scoreboard, trailing by just 4. 60-56 the score from London. Basketball school. It'll be tense. March 6th and 7th, Copps Coliseum, and all indications pointing toward these two teams perhaps rounding out the Final Four. McMaster as well. It'll be a dogfight. 13 minutes and 15 seconds to play. 60-56. Waterloo turns it over to Western, and an opportunity to come back within at least 2.
And it's not only the players that make the Final Four of the shootout, it's the fans. So we challenge the fans to get out there in numbers, and let's have 10 to 12,000 fans out for that weekend in the Wild West shootout. 3 points. 3-point shots. Waterloo 6 for 7, and Western 3 for 5. And the main difference there is Chris Moore to start the second half, hitting from the 3-point line. Good backdoor, Michael Lynch.
Combined 75% from the perimeter for both these teams. Very impressive. And Mike Lynch starting to find the range, however, inside. If he ever gets hot from the outside, this will be a very close game, and it is as we speak. 60-58 basically put. The big guns have not come to play as of yet. However, in the second half, Van Koughnett and Urosevic have been hot.
I don't know what they said to John Vermeeren in that last time out, but he's come out here and really playing well, and he cleans the glass again. He's getting it done at both ends of the court. John Vermeeren, number 44.
And he has tied the game at 60. Tilsonburg Glendale graduate with 8 points. Timeout has been called by Tom Kieswetter and the Waterloo Warriors. An opportunity to regroup and a time for a well-deserved breather for the Western Mustangs and John Vermeeren.
John. Okay. It'll work, John. That's the idea. Okay. Okay, we're still running the same offense now. Everybody okay? A lot of backdoor. Again, keep it high. Screen Van Koughnett specifically now. Okay, when he comes off the screen. Don't let him just run by. Okay? And Mike, you can also fake at times and come over the top, as long as they don't get shoving down there. Okay? So give it the screen more thought, but then turn inside again real fast and keep working for Seal. Okay? If they take two-man rhythm, just present to the ball, we can throw it in. If they're going to stay back,
Level back up. So push the ball, find the open man. Let's go.
Both coaches taking offensive strategies there. Coach Boydell, what he wants to do is have, if they're going to overplay Michael Lynch, meaning they're not going to let him get the basketball, Michael Lynch has to backdoor, and he did the last time for the easy deuce. At the same time, Tommy Kieswater is saying, we've got to be selective. Let's look for the open player in the offense. Let's get back into the game, but they got to push the ball up court quickly. That doesn't mean they're going to get a lot of break points, but they've got to push the ball up circle to circle and then see what they can get on their passing game or their motion game.
Well, a free pair of tickets to an OUAA basketball game can be yours with the purchase of a pair of K-Swiss shoes at all participating Foot Locker dealers. Buy a pair of tickets and buy a pair of shoes and get a pair of tickets, and off to OUAA basketball you will go with the new shoes. Perhaps an opportunity to play as well, but not likely.
Dingle on Urosevic. Brendan Noonan on B.J. York. Good matchup.
York dishes off. It's Alex Urosevic. Baseline in traffic. Bounce the other way. Follows off the glass and down for two. There's the deuce, and Craig Boydell saying there was contact. He wanted the foul, but did not get it called.
But that was good ball movement by the Warriors. They took the double team and passed to the open player coming to the hoop.
Vermeeren with two. Actually, Coach Boydell calling for traveling.
You're seeing now, Paul, a lot of good man pressure defense. And the way you fight that is back doors and going to the basket. You can do it from the low post position or the forward, but Michael Lynch has to stay high if he's going to get some back doors successfully. Here's some key substitutions now. John Vermeeren has played very well to get him back into the game. Tie score 62-62. He's going to get a rest.
Short lineup here for the Western Mustangs as Peter Schmidt comes in for Vermeeren. An opportunity with Balfe on the court to take charge, and he hits.
Well-coached teams taking advantage of where they're weak in size, and Balfe can now do a job inside if Michael Lynch is going to check him.
Mikeman, nice move, turnaround jump shot, drills and down it drops, and we're tied at 64. Milne into double figures, he has 10. Balfe with 15. Urosevic shakes, bakes, and drains. 66-64 for the Western, or make it Waterloo Warriors.
Both teams are in a zone offensively. They have a lot of confidence. They're moving well.
Mark Hopkins getting set to come into this ball game for Waterloo. Urosevic with 14 points, 10 here in the second half. The triple pump by Milne back outside. Noonan to Lynch. Lynch back of the rim. Rebound Balfe as he went sky high to bring it down.
That's power at the low post position.
Van Koughnett, B.J. York, three-point range. Mike Duarte in traffic with the offensive glass. Foul, Blake Gage, number 14 for the Western Mustangs. That's his fourth.
And when you need a rebound or you need someone to change the tempo of the basketball game, Mike Duarte, you had him at halftime. He loves to do that. Now you're looking at a 5'11 player going after the boards. You see him come there. He uses the center boards. Offensive rebounding, all it is desire and position. Desire first. You can come from the outside in and do well off the offensive glass.
Noonan, tremendous defensive play. Back into the passing lane, comes up with the strip. Into offensive transition, the Mustangs in traffic, passing off. Milne from the assist by way of Mike Lynch, and he hits. We're tied at 66.
Brendan Noonan got away with a move-in screen.
To welcome the Brock Badgers, and we hope the Lakehead Nor'Westers, who made it safely to St. Catharines, were supposed to play last night. That game was canceled. We're supposed to play this afternoon. That game was canceled. Rough weather in northwestern Ontario, and as a result, Wes, a very big 4-point game tomorrow afternoon for both these teams. It'll count for 4.
Well, I know the Brock Badgers want to get back onto the basketball court. They've got something to prove after last week's loss to the Waterloo Warriors.
My theory is if you're going to double up the points, you double up the personal statistics as well. Dave Picton hits for his usual 25, give him 50 points. It's that new mathematics, OUAA style, but it's not going to happen that way. Peter Barnsley, the OUAA Sports Information Director and statistician, have himself a headache of a heyday.
Hopkins and Millen are going at each other, and Millen just checked the back of his head to see if he was all right. A lot of pounding and mugging and tugging going on inside. You love to see it late in the basketball game.
First half, we talked about Brendan Noonan having to go to the hoop and shoot more from the perimeter as well. He has 4 points here in the second half.
This is where the three-man officiating crew, Paul, is extremely important in the game of basketball. The game is so quick, especially down the stretch, and the kids are playing it with such intensity that you need the three-man officiating crew to cover the floor very well. And this crew today are handling this game exceptionally well. They're in control. They're letting the kids play. But when there's a foul and it gives another team an advantage, they're going to call it.
Foul on the previous play, actually going to Michael Lynch, just his second. Vermeeren opened the first half with 2 fouls almost immediately, but has played foul-free here through the entire second half and played very well. 8 minutes, 50 seconds to play. Noonan back up court. Schmidt dishes off baseline. Lynch given room, has the range, but off the rim it comes, and it's going to be Waterloo possession.
That's where Alex Urosevic has to do well, because Tom Balfe came off to try to block the shot, and he forced himself away from the defensive glass. Alex went and got the defensive rebound.
Jonathan Dingle set to come on court as he replaces Noonan.
We're getting close now at the 8-minute mark, and shot selection is important, defensive focus is important, and floor balance.
The Western Mustangs back on top by a deuce. It has been a seesaw game, very evenly played. Van Koughnett looking for help and finds B.J. York. York amongst the Giants takes the shot. Vermeeren, another defensive rebound, out hustling Alex Urosevic, and given the height advantage, that wasn't too difficult. Brad Campbell with the shot. Has not scored a basket here in the second half, looking to get on range. Western possession. Balfe and Vermeeren, a pair of double 44s.
And this is where your offside forward or your offside guard is so important down the stretch. They've got to get that third man on the defensive glass, and so far it's only been Sean and Balfe.
By 2, 68-66. It's going to go down to the wire, West.
That's why a balanced attack is important. First half, Brad Campbell, dominant player, mainly from the outside. John Vermeeren was in foul trouble. Second half, John Vermeeren goes in the game, wants to be the dominant player. He has 8 points and 6 rebounds. Campbell hasn't scored here in the second half. So they've reversed roles, but they've also reversed the type of game they want. They're going inside versus the perimeter.
Jonathan Dingle pumps it back outside. Peter Schmidt to Campbell. Brad Campbell. Watched closely by Urosevic. Looking for room. 8 seconds left on the shot clock, and the top defense pays off for Waterloo as the Mustangs turn it back. Dingle, post player, will make it a #1 point guard for the Mustangs. He has replaced Brendan Noonan, who's on the bench getting ready for the stretch run.
Every possession is important that you get a good look at the basket. You get at least 2 or 3 good looks. Good defense by Alex. It goes off his hip and then off of Jonathan Dingle, the freshman.
Van Koughnett to Urosevic. In traffic, and a man in his face hits for 2, calling for 3, but that's a deuce.
A rhythm shooter. He's not even looking at the hoop half the time. He knows his range.
16 points at 25 in the victory over Brock last Saturday. Almost dunked in bonus time, but he gently lays up for 2, Sean Van Koughnett. Van Koughnett with 11. Urosevic with 16.
The Warriors are ready to make a statement.
Vermeeren ready to make a statement as well. We are tied at 70. John Vermeeren with 12 points so far in this ball game, 10 here in the second half.
Both teams wanting to go to the hoop.
Urosevic stepped outside. Alex saying I was bumped. Turns it back to the Mustangs.
Patience with each possession. He loves to slash and dash on the baseline. He gets it now. A little bump there. John Vermeeren had his spot. Turnover. The Mustangs are trying to break the tie at 70.
Jonathan Dingle dishes off inside. Brad Campbell, reverse layup. It doesn't go. Scrabbling called, and John Vermeeren, one step too many.
Good dialogue there between Sean Van Koughnett and Alex Urosevic. Just telling Alex he's got to play the defense. Don't climb over people's back. Go to the defensive glass.
Last time we saw the Mustangs on television, we talked about head coach Craig Boydell needing a haircut. He got one once. More traveling.
But these are the errors you have to cut down on. You've got to have good possessions, take time off the clock so you get people involved, get the good hard screens and shot selection.
Campbell looks for the open man. Pressured and tossed it back. Intended receiver was Jonathan Dingle. Could not hold on to the ball. 6 minutes and 3 seconds to play. We are tied at 70. The Western Mustangs coming into this ball game on a 3-game winning streak. Waterloo with 2. And for Western, a pair of those victories last weekend up in Lakehead. Always impressive when you can sweep the Nor'westers at home. Out it comes, a rugby scrum. There's the battle. Noonan beat Urosevic to the ball. Campbell.
That's a good call. The officials, that's why these officials are doing a great job today. There was a trap there, Paul, and the timeout was called. The outside official called the foul, but the inside official said he called a timeout first. Great officiating when you get down to this time in the game. You see people are going for the loose ball. That's what you want to see from your kids. You practice so hard to get to this point in the basketball game. Now there's your 3-man trap there. You see he's called a timeout. Both officials got together. Great call.
Stay away from the C's. We'll come into special high out of the offense. Guard to guard is what's available now. Let's not go overboard guard to forward. Let's get guard to guard, get good down speeds, curl more. There were opportunities to curl more toward the middle. If we curl to the middle, then we're likely to leave John open and back of the curl.
Okay. If we get a baseline punch, go for your stop. You be a passer or a shooter, but you can't go all the way unless there's nobody there, and I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, set entries we can use. We can use invert, okay? Okay, we can use stack, Alfred, okay? When Sean goes back to 3, use his 3.
Turnovers, Western 16, Waterloo 10. So the sin bin is with the Western Mustangs. What both coaches are trying to do is get back to the basics of the game. Just go through your offense, make sure that players are in the right position. Try to get it in the inside if you can first.
Offensive charge assessed against the Western Mustangs. Ball back to the Waterloo Warriors. We are tied at 7. The stretch run here at Alumni Hall in London. 5 minutes and 27 seconds to play, second half.
Now we see who the role players are. The players must know their roles coming down the stretch. You don't want to go outside your role because everybody must complement each other, and you can't get a one-on-one game. Both teams are really focused here in the last 5 minutes.
The Waterloo Warriors historically have played well on the road in London. In fact, Don McClay's final victory as a head coach right here at Alumni Hall in the playoffs 2 years ago. Dethroning the defending national champions. Brad Campbell all by his lonesome, and the Mustangs surge back in front by 2.
Defensive transition. You have to pick your man up. Always see the man and the basketball. Don't turn your back on the basketball.
For Campbell, his first field goal in the second half, he has 14 points. That is tops on the Mustangs. Mike Milne with 12, Marty Harris, or rather John Vermeeren with 12 as well. Turnover, Mike Lynch has 7, and Dingle back up court for Western. Campbell
Big trip right here for an inside score.
He called it. Vermeeren with 14, and the Mustangs in front by 4.
Guys, now listen. Running the offense well. We got to look for the matchup now. Okay? If they go to matchup, Blake's going to be in the 4 spot, but the principles are all the same. 3-man goes through. In fact, let's keep you as the 3. So Mike will go back to 3. He tries to go through, drag a couple. John, you got to look in right away. So you can help screen on that. Like, don't even worry. If they step backwards, it's off to you to get him.
Get us moving. So if you dribble the ball up, you're going back to the 4, you're swinging it. Everything you do has to be strong. Alex, if you're playing on the wing, you can't play the wing taking 2 steps back and forth. All the way to the block, all the way back, and we'll find him. That's right. Right now, it's our ball. Carolina. Carolina, we're going to run into an invert. So as soon as they get the ball into the 1-man, we're going to run an invert. Now, invert as an entry. Get it entered, get the baseline, attack baseline.
You have to identify your options here. Both coaches are doing that. What are your first, second, and third options? Play good defense. Watch up anytime they change the zone on man-to-man. There's a lot of time left in this basketball game. Second half, 12 points and 7 rebounds. The Gentle Giant is playing a game here in the second half.
Chris Moore by Brad Campbell, but Campbell is right by him as well. Van Koughnett watched by Lynch. What a matchup this is. Baseline, Van Koughnett looking for room, navigates outside. Dort passes off, Moore penetrates, off the glass. Balfe battling for the rebound. Lynch, right place, right time, comes up with it, and the Mustangs back into offensive transition.
But in that possession, Waterloo did a lot of dribbling with their heads down and not looking for cutters. Look at what Mustangs are doing here. They're looking for the backdoor plays. Well run to the big guy inside, Sean Van Koughnett on the back door. That's the difference.
16 points and West 14 here in the second half alone. He has been the difference. Head coach Craig Boydell telling us at halftime he's got to get his big guy back into the lineup, and he has done so very successfully.
And it all comes down to execution, especially in the last 4 minutes. A team that executes, knows their offense, has a better feel for it, normally will win the basketball game.
Mike Duarte cross-court feed pass by way of Tom Balfe. Rebound right Gage. Gage playing with 4 fouls, but playing very aggressively. And Brad Campbell comes out to Lynch. Noonan. Offensive charge. The Mustangs way, and it's going to come Waterloo's way. Possession turned over. Did B.J. York have position?
What a reversal of roles, because Brendan Noonan got called, and he's normally the best defensive player in the league at the point position. York reversed roles, got the charge and the possession, down 6. They've got to score here. They've got to have a good possession here to try to get back into the basketball game. Down 6, 2:40 to go.
Urosevic. Bounce pass. Tom Balfe finds room, back out the other way to Van Koughnett. B.J. York watched by Gage. Balfe in and around. That basket's going to count. Great move to get by Vermeeren. Hit the shot through the foul and back within 3. Make it 4, 76-72, and an opportunity here to hit.
And late in the game, you want a lot of help defense. Help defense means you double down. Watch when Balfe gets the ball. There's Vermeeren behind him. Lynch tries to double down. Noonan tries to double down. And he comes out of the pinch, scores the points, tries for the 3, and that'll get him back in the game. Tom Balfe can not only, he scores well in the paint, but he passes well when you double down on him.
And Balfe has brought his team back within 3. 76-73. Points so far for Tom Balfe. 2 minutes, 5 seconds to play. Great move, Gage. Ripped up the ball by Mike Duarte. B.J. York now back up court. Balfe sets up. And the collision here is frustrations and tempers fly in the very competitive Tasmanian Devil, and a foul jump ball called. Arrow pointing Waterloo's way.
Good call again. Players going for the basketball. Good feed to Bell on the baseline. The hop step goes up strong. Thought there should have been an offensive charge. No way. John Vermeeren goes over the back, gets the ball. Sean Van Koughnett ties him up.
1 minute, 54 seconds to play. Regulation, 76-73 Western.
Now, you may have to come higher.
Superstar! Right now, you can win souvenirs and tickets to experience this WWF live at Maple Leaf Gardens on February 20th. Who's better for furniture and appliances?
Nobody!
What's really important, and both coaches were saying it in the timeouts, and that is, don't worry about the score. Do the things that we do well. Go to our strengths, play tough defense. The score will take care of itself. So many players look at the score and say, well, we're down 4, we're down 3. That means we've got to have 2 possessions, so forth. No, play your game. Stick with your game plan. Be patient. Manage the clock. Get in your offense, but stay focused defensively.
Battle of the bands, the Waterloo Warriors marching band, the Western Mustangs as well. Turning up the tempo in both these teams. B.J. York, there's a collision. Brad Campbell. Very key and opportunistic defensive board. 1 minute and 41 seconds exactly. A 3-point differential here. Mustangs with the lead and possession. Campbell. Bounce pass inside Brendan Noonan. 8 seconds, shot clock. Gage, nice move, baseline, loses the ball. Out of bounds it goes, and a break for the Mustangs. They'll get it back. Tough defense by Mike Duarte.
Good help defense, jamming up the ball, but good movement by the Mustangs as well. They'll get a reset on the clock. I can't see the clock, but there are 4 seconds on the shot clock. They got to get it off quickly.
Lynch hustles back into the play. Sean Van Koughnett with a big miss. Brings it back down. Balfe in behind the coverage. Basket. 76-75. Do not go away. 1 minute, 4 seconds to go.
Good court awareness, good court vision to see the open player.
We are officially under a minute to play.
The arrow goes to the Mustangs.
55 seconds exactly. Arrow may have gone to the Waterloo Warriors. Scoreboard here indicates a tie ball game, but
it was 2-point spread.
It's a 1-point differential.
Okay, so it's their possession, end of the floor. And what's the score? Okay, guys. Offensively, it's the same thing. When we have the ball in the middle, the guys at the outside, if you're denied, come higher and still look to go back door. But also just present higher and get back into something else. Okay? And Brendan, you got to be willing that if it's clogged up in there, just...
Going up top, you're clearing this side right here. You're not coming to the block, Alex. You're going to spot up over here. Okay, BJ, as you go through, you spot up over here. So you get it, and you're going to attack baseline. Okay, attack baseline for your spot-up shot. Okay? Alex, you're coming all the way in behind him then. Okay? We have 1 timeout left. Now hold it. Be ready for some pressure here right now. Our 4-man has the ball. 4-man has the ball. 1 and 2 set of screen. Timeout. Run St. John's. St. John's right now. St. John's. Wait, what? Run St. John's.
Oh, this is where the spontaneous part of basketball comes in. You can set your plays, you get your people in the right position, but you've got to look at the defense. The way the defense reacts, then you must react that way. So this is where the quality players come to the forefront. If the play is there, you've got to take it. If not, go to something the defense gives you. On the other hand, the defense has to play tough on the ball. That is critical.
48 seconds game clock, 22 seconds shot clock. Waterloo with the ball on way block, but Mike Lynch goes in, uncontested for the layup. It's a three-point ball game just like that. What a steal by the Western Mustang veteran. Has not had his best game to date, West, but that was a key play.
It certainly was, but it was a super matchup between Michael Lynch and Sean Van Koughnett. Anytime late in the game, you've got to come and meet the basketball. Michael Lynch anticipated the passing lane, got in the passing lane, got the score for the deuce. They're up 3.
Chris Moore is in right now for Mike for second. Come on, win quickly. You're back to the 3-man right now. Okay? We're going to run Carolina into invert. Okay? The invert that we want is going to be this way right here on the right side. So our 4-man's going to get it. Okay? Sean, you're not throwing it in. Alex, you're going to throw it in. Okay? That means you're the 3-man, you're going to be over here. Okay, got that, Sean?
Boards, every turn the board. If you have the rebound, okay, you've got to protect it, bring it in before you throw it, and somebody else can find a ref and call timeout if we need to, and we save the possession. Stang, we're on the press break. Mike's got the ball in bounds. Again, a timeout would do it.
This is where special teams come into the game of basketball. All basketball teams practice this. What happens 30 seconds to go? We've got the ball out of bounds, down 3. What happens if we have the ball on the out of bounds play? Now you'll see some things, good things happen when the clock is stopped to try to score. Timeouts remaining, Waterloo. None left. Western have saved 3 if they need it, but they're up 3. 35 seconds to go.
Another exhausting, emotional day for the coaches and players alike here in West Division basketball. Back in, bounce pass. Difference is 3. They need the 3 to tie it up. Van Koughnett from way back. Balfe battles for the ball, but Brendan Noonan comes up with the basketball. 16 seconds and foul time as Campbell prepares for the assault. Timeout, Western Mustangs. Well, next week we'll get a chance to see 2 of the better teams in East Division play. No, not the Laurentian Voyageurs. However, the Toronto Varsity Blues and the York University Yeomen. Head coach Ken Olenek and Bob Bain have 2 fine teams, West. Toronto started the year with 3 consecutive victories. They've lost 3 straight. York have come back to win 3 straight. It will be competitive.
It'll be a great game, and in the old days, Paul, that used to be bragging rights for Toronto. Not anymore, the way Ryerson is playing. Ryerson are playing good basketball, so you've got 3 teams now for the bragging rights in Toronto, but that will be a good game. Don't miss it.
So, if you are, depending on how they line up, if you're closest to the basket, you've got to be ready to go back. So we're trying to stop the inbounds. They get inbounds, we're fouling them right away. We don't care who it is. If we get an intercept, we have to go for the 3-point shot. Pull up or whatever. We have no more timeouts. Okay? Again, sit down. 3 defender on the inbound. Leave her off to Noonan. They get the ball in, foul them right away. Okay, we don't have any timeouts. Let's go.
Paul, it really comes down to you can have all the strategies, you can have all the offensive sets and the defense and the intensity and so forth, but it comes down to that one individual play, and Michael Lynch has made that one individual play in this basketball game to preserve the win for the Mustangs.
Possession critical for the Waterloo Warriors. Right now, the Western Mustangs have it. With 9.2 seconds left on the clock, Van Koughnett, little choice but to foul Brad Campbell. 78-75 the score here in the final 10 seconds of play.
Mustangs have tried to spread the offense so that the Waterloo Warriors can't double team. Alex had no other choice, Paul. He fouled the man away from the basket, or away from the ball. That means that they'll get 2 shots here from the foul line.
The big guns in this basketball game, Wes, at least the marquee names. Urosevic with 16, Sean Van Koughnett with 11, far below their seasonal averages. Michael Lynch as well for the Western Mustangs with just 9 points. However, his push to steal the major leading points here in the final moments of the ball game. Van Koughnett puts it up from 3-point range. The buzzer sounds in the basketball game. is over. An incredible finish to this afternoon's contest. The Dutchman with a final opportunity and a standing ovation here by a near-capacity crowd in London for a job well done. Head coach Craig Boydell and the Western Ontario Mustangs have won their 4th consecutive game. They go to 5-1 on the season. Waterloo drops to 3-5. We'll be back with our player of the game and much more in just a moment.
For furniture and appliances, this is the baddest tag team in the universe.
Tilsonburg, if you will. John Vermeeren, 16 points, 11 rebounds, 2 fouls in the first half, negated his effectiveness. Came off the bench in the second half, merely scored 14 points, picked up most of his board work, 2 right there, and the Western Mustangs win their 4th consecutive game. Well, congratulations, big guy. This has been a heck of a season for you people. One nemesis, however, the McMaster Marauders, but you've bounced back since that dreadful loss 2 weeks ago and have played some good basketball.
Yeah, we've had a good couple weeks of running the offense since that game. What's really helped is a lot of teams are trying to really cover Mike on the perimeter, so it's really trying to spread the offense, so it's really helping myself and Brad and everyone else inside that they're really trying to cover Mike. But he's still hitting his shots too, though, so.
Well, Mike was held to 9 points, which gives ample indication of just how important the inside game is for you people, and proof positive that the Western Mustangs play a very solid team concept of basketball.
Yeah, we had a couple guys that came off the bench. Mike Millen in the first half, when I was in foul trouble, hit some tough inside shots, and we had a couple other guys that aren't really expected to score, but came up with big shots in the first half to help us keep us in the game.
Well, John, congratulations. 16 points, 11 rebounds. As a result, our player of the game in this afternoon, a pivotal figure in the Western Mustangs, winning once again here on Saturday afternoon. The score is 78-75, the Western Mustangs, and we'll be back with some post-game thoughts in just a moment. So by all means, stay with us.
Channel 11 at MP stores and Channel 11.
And John Vermeeren proving why he is one of the premier inside players in OUAA basketball. 16 points today, 78-75. The Western Mustangs surging to victory, but it was very tough. The Waterloo Warriors, another fine performance. And West 6, if the Mustangs had to win a game, it had to be this one on home court. Craig Boydell very upset that they're not in the top 10, and they lost today. Probably never would have been in the top 10 as the season progressed.
Well, I hope they're in the top 10 now, but I thought Waterloo played well. Both teams were well prepared, well coached, good game plans. The game just came down to that one play. Michael Lynch steals the ball, goes in for the 2, and breaks the game open in the last minute and a half. But however, Paul, from the Hicks family and from all your fans, we want to present to you here your first shoes for Caroline, the basketball shoes with the socks, just so that when she's ready to play the game of basketball, there you go.
She's chowing down big time as we speak, and given a few more days, she'll be able to fit these and perhaps playing somewhere in West Division play. Thanks a lot, pal. Well, final score, 78-75, the Western Ontario Mustangs, and we'll be back with some final thoughts in just a moment.
Channel 11 at Bad Boy.
Foul, and 2.4 seconds left.